here today, Holden?
My friend Carl Lewis, I don't know. We got together. He recommended I see his dad. He's one of those psychoanalysis and all. That's the only worthwhile comment he made the whole 12 hours we were talking.
So, what is the problem from your viewpoint?
Every single situation I'm in makes me depressed as hell.
Could you give me a concrete example?
I got this prostitute I paid $5 for. It ended up doubling. I didn't want to have sex or anything with her.
So, what did you want a prostitute for?
I'm not scared of sex or anything. All I wanted was for her to just listen to me. I just wanted to pay her for listening.
Trying to grasp innocence from people. He's isolated himself, which is the first step to the grieving process. Did the prostitute listen to you?
No, she had no conversation skills at all. She was young, and she started taking off her dress, which made me so depressed. I'm sure I wouldn't be if you did, though.
Mr. Caulfield, let's stay on topic.
But not too much. I guess they can't stick to the point all the time. Then there were these nuns I met who were just eating plain toast for breakfast.
So, what makes you feel sad about that?
It made me feel so sad watching. They all desired to eat because they were supposed to live like that. I don't have much of an appetite, but it was still so depressing. I started talking to them, but I was uncomfortable when Romeo and Juliet got brought up.
What made you feel uncomfortable about Romeo and Juliet?
They were nuns and all. I decided just to donate some of my money since I really didn't need it anyway.
Have you noticed an appetite change recently?
Ever since I got kicked out of Penn State, I haven't really had much of an appetite.
So, do you often do nice things for people, like donate money?
Sometimes. Last month I bought my sister a record, but it shattered in pieces before I even gave it to her.
The best way to feel better about yourself is doing good for others. How does this problem of depression typically make you feel?
I feel like an outsider watching all these phonies. I don't belong here or anywhere.
Is there anything specific that makes you depressed?
Well, one of the guys I went to school with was getting picked on. I didn't know him real well, but I let him borrow my jacket. He was cornered in his room, but was so stubborn not to take back what he said about one of the guys that he just jumped out the window. No one even bothered to go near him except Mr. Antolini.
Holden could be suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder. He witnessed his classmate's suicide. So, what makes the problem better?
Mostly drinking, talking to my sister, and going to the museum to reminisce. The museum is always the same. The kids going in are never the same each time they visit. The museum has these long hallways and is full of glass cases. My favorite exhibits are the Indians and mummies. There's this one Eskimo fishing, looking like he just caught some fish. Nothing in the museum will ever be different, except for you.
It seems like you like to relive your childhood, in some ways. What is your relationship with your parents?
I mean, not too good. They send me off to boarding school after boarding school. I've been to at least 1,000 by now. My dad is always working, and I've really had a good connection with my mom. Ever since Allie died, she hasn't been the same because she distances herself. It's actually quite depressing if you think about it. Most things are depressing if you think about them too much.
Holden could be suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder. He witnessed his classmate's suicide. So, what makes the problem better?
Mostly drinking, talking to my sister, and going to the museum to reminisce. The museum is always the same. The kids going in are never the same each time they visit. The museum has these long hallways and is full of glass cases. My favorite exhibits are the Indians and mummies. There's this one Eskimo fishing, looking like he just caught some fish. Nothing in the museum will ever be different, except for you.
It seems like you like to relive your childhood, in some ways. What is your relationship with your parents?
I mean, not too good. They send me off to boarding school after boarding school. I've been to at least 1,000 by now. My dad is always working, and I've really had a good connection with my mom. Ever since Allie died, she hasn't been the same because she distances herself. It's actually quite depressing if you think about it. Most things are depressing if you think about
Holden
them too
likes
much.
to relive his past because he fears change. The big changes he has had in his life are always negative. Change to him means failure or loss. So, do you have any siblings?
Yes, my brother D.V. lives out in Hollywood being a phony. He wrote the best book called Goldfish. You would love it.
Tell me more about how your brother is a phony.
Well, he would write these great books, but he is now a prostitute. He sells his scripts to big-time movies just to make some dough. That's not really how he is. But enough about D.V. Then there's Phoebe. She's the most curious girl you'll ever meet. When she was just a little girl, she would always walk between me and D.V. when we were having a conversation. She'd always interrupt and say, "What?" or "Who are you talking about?" Then she'd just respond with either "Oh" or "Mm-hmm." She'd kill me. She really would. She always wanted to be a part of everything and got so curious when she wasn't. My mom would dress her up in the best outfits, I must say.
Why are you doing that?
I don't know. I used to do it when I was a kid. It was Allie's. Had another brother. He's the most remarkable boy you'll ever meet. His name was? How would you refer to a dead person? Anyway, his name was Allie. He's the one my mom is always depressed about. He was her baby boy.
I'm so sorry to hear that, Holden. So, what was your best memory with Allie?
I loved him. He used to play baseball. I'd watch him all the time. He was only a little boy, so there wasn't much going on in the game. But I supported him. It was sort of depressing watching all the little kids run the bases and not have any idea what was going on. You sort of felt sorry for him.
Is there anything you regret not doing regarding Allie?
I got so mad when Allie died last year that I punched a window and had to go to the hospital. I didn't even get to go to his funeral.
Anger is another process to the grieving phase. Allie is the underlying factor for Holden's destructive behavior. He never got the closure. So, were you close with Allie?
Now that you bring it up, he was probably one of my only friends besides Phoebe. Why does it always happen to me?
What always happens to you?
Everything I have just stops working. I'll use it for a little bit and it just breaks. Even with my relationships, they always just go down, but never bounce back up, just like my stupid yo-yo. It's kind of depressing, to be honest. You never get a real chance with any of these girls. They'll just want to dance, have fun, or drink. I feel like I can never have a decent conversation.
What are some things that trouble you the most?
What troubles me the most is that I don't know where Allie went. I don't believe in God. Allie's just in the ground. I talk to him sometimes when I'm so depressed. I became desperate to have him listen.
What do you say to Allie?
Well, when I was walking in New York, I kept talking to Allie because I get this spooky feeling when I wouldn't make it on the other side of the street. I said, Allie, don't let me disappear.
Another step to the grieving process is to bargain with God. They want to beg God to bring back their loved ones, except Holden doesn't believe in God, so he bargains with Allie instead. What are these?
They're letters from girls around New York. When I get lonely, I read them. I get lonely quite frequently, so I read them a lot.
And what are your relationship with these girls?
Oh, they're all just friends. No one seems to like me in that way. I don't really understand why. I guess I'm not that interesting.
Is there any girl that's special to you, one that's not just a friend?
I had a thing with old Sally Hayes. She's the prettiest girl you'll ever see. When we went to see her once, I just about shocked her. I asked her, here's my idea. How would you like to go get the hell out of here? Here's my idea. We could drive up to Vermont. It's beautiful up there. Sally said, you can't just do something like that. Then we got into this heated argument. I didn't even want to go with her anymore, but I meant it when I asked.
So, did it bother you she wasn't willing to go with you?
I was going to get a job there and be able to support us. It doesn't bother me anymore because I'm glad I didn't go with her.
So, what made you decide to ask her that?
The idea just popped in my head. I was so over living life here. There's nothing for me in New York. I like the idea of being with her and having someone to talk to.
Did you feel isolated from everyone at this time?
I didn't really feel like doing much. I would try to talk to people. Once I actually met up with them, I would be bored out of my mind and wish I was all alone again. I might call up old Sally Hayes and apologize for scaring her.
So, do you feel like you are always that impulsive?
Well, you never really know until someone points that out to you. When people are direct with you, it's kind of nice. I'm not always that direct because my mind jumps around a little bit.
This has been a very good session, Holden. I can feel you opening up. If you ever need someone to talk to, you can call me. I would suggest you continue your good deeds for people. It would be beneficial if you go to a support group. They will listen to you for sure. You can do simple things for yourself like exercise, which will produce endorphins that will produce a happy feeling for you.
Okay, thank you very much. I think people just don't know how to listen because they have their own problems to worry about. Society doesn't want to be surrounded by negativity. They would rather avoid other people's problems. People can show empathy, but no one really knows what you're going